We tell a lot of people what we feel about them when they're dying.
And you
Yeah.
mentioned you're even writing letters to people who passed away.
The 9-year-old girl that picked up a pen because she went, I've got to do something with all of these massive thoughts that I'm having and I've got nowhere to put it.
Thoughts and emotions that are non-beneficial.
Just say to them, look, if you don't know what to write, just say, I don't know what to write. But she just gave me a look that neither said it was good or neither said it was bad.
And today, Nicola is going to talk about how writing can shift our energy now. Hello, everyone. This is Shift Your Energy Now with Mary Lynn. And today, my special guest is Nicola McDonald. And she is an author, creative writing coach, and founder of Introverts Paper Playground. And today, Nicola is going to talk about how writing can shift our energy now. So go ahead, Nicola.
Okay, I'll just give a brief intro, and thank you for inviting me, by the way. A brief intro into how I started. So I started a long time ago, at the age of 9, when I used to listen to lyrics, and I found that the lyrics would help me sort of shift and release, if you like, release any anxiety or even joy. It would give me an excuse to dance. It would give me an excuse to
Ah,
cry. So I used the lyrics for that. And then I found, and I don't know why specifically 9, but I found at the age of 9 that what I was listening to, I found it wasn't me specific. It wasn't telling the story of all of me. We kind of lived in a house where children had to be quiet. So I
yeah.
processed emotion on a piece of paper. And I carried on kind of doing that through turmoil, through joy in my entire life. But I suppose the biggest shift I had to do is I became estranged from my dad when just after my mum died. There are many reasons for that, but
Oh,
I swore that I was never going to go back. It was toxic. It wasn't going to happen
yeah.
until a phone call from my brother in the Philippines. And he said, would you
Oh,
go? And I said, no, 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 I can't. I really can't go back there. Anyway, several things happened that year, and I went on a retreat, and I started to realize that actually I'm still letting him, even though we're away, I'm still letting him control my life. Something's got to shift here.
oh,
So by facing it, I thought, well, I'm going to go see what happens. I don't have to go every day. I'll go and face the demon, so to speak. And I turned up, and I turned up with my husband because I was quite nervous, quite anxious.
yeah, yeah. How
Knocked on the
many years
door.
has it been before you knocked on
It
that
had been
door?
9 years. 9 years.
Wow. So
Yeah.
nine is a significant number for you. You started writing at nine and you
Yes.
were
Yes.
separated from your father for
Yeah.
9 years. Yeah.
Exactly. And the really interesting thing is I didn't even associate the numbers. It's only through talking about it that I'm going, okay, 9 again. So yeah, so I knocked on his door, a bunch of flowers in my hand, and I
Oh,
was met by this man I barely recognized, to be perfectly honest. He
wow.
was quite stooped over. He was 5'8" normal, so a bit taller than me, but he stood smaller than me because he was quite bent over. And we started talking to him, and it was even before then that I could just see that there was something not quite right in his eyes. I couldn't spell it out, but I thought, okay, is this going to
Hmm.
be dramatic or is it going to be sensible? What's this going to look like? Anyway, literally within 10 minutes, I walked into his kitchen to find he had steak in the fridge for his dog, no food in the house for himself.
Oh,
He started repeating himself. He'd sort of
okay.
forgotten that we were estranged. And I thought, oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So
Yeah.
from that very day, I became his carer from that day. So I'd gone from 9 years of estrangement. And I thought, oh gosh, what's going on here? What can I do? And literally, I couldn't actually speak to him about what'd gone on. It became really apparent that there was no
Right,
going back. There was no having this conversation out, if you like.
right.
So the next thing, I was in touch with doctors, I was in touch with social care services, and I just found that this whole burden of what was going on was literally
Yeah.
on my shoulders. So. without even realizing it, I started writing, but I started writing letters. And these
Oh,
letters were about every single emotion I was going through.
and who did
It,
you write the letter to?
I wrote to everybody. I wrote to my mum, bless her, she's
Okay.
passed away. I wrote to his parents. I had also passed away
Wow.
because I started working lots and lots of things out about how his child had been. He was more forthcoming, stuff he'd never
Oh.
said before, and it kind of made me angry. So I was in turmoil with anger
So
anyway.
he was speaking when you were his caregiver about
Yeah.
things from
Yeah, no,
his
he was
past?
opening. Yeah, I've learned more about him in these last 3 years than I've known my entire life about him.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
for me is, had I not gone, I would never know this stuff.
It kind of
Um,
came full circle.
yeah, yeah. So
That's, yeah.
I became his parent, if you like, because he
Yes.
couldn't make normal decisions. So shopping, all of that kind of thing, I had to do. But these letters, were really interesting because although I could speak to people about this is really hard for me driving up the motorway for 4 hours every 10 days and then
4
back three
hours.
days later. So my life just kind of
Mm.
exploded. I stopped having a life because it became about caring for him.
Wow.
Even
That
though
was very
people could,
generous of you. That was very generous
yeah,
of you. Was it from your
I,
heart or was it out of
yes.
obligation?
Um, it came from my heart. It was it was really difficult because I didn't want to. There was a part of my intelligence going, you don't have to do this.
Right.
But I'm
Right.
thinking, but if you don't, would you do this? If it was another person sat in front of you that you hadn't had an argument, would you walk away? And the answer is no, 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 no way I would walk away. So trying to navigate it myself, I had sympathy and I had empathy, but I still had all of this emotion. What do I do with this emotion?
Did you have
So as
compassion for him as well, or
yes, yeah,
okay, so his compassion and
the
heart
the
felt.
yeah. The thing was, he wasn't the man I left.
And it
In
sounds like
it,
you had 9 years of unresolved
yeah,
energies that you
yeah, and
couldn't resolve because he had changed, and so you
I
turned to
couldn't.
the writing the letters.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
so
good idea.
yeah, I recommend it to anybody, to be honest. Even writing letters of love to people that you love, just write it. Just,
And
we spend a lot of time um, thinking when people die. Obviously, that's been on my mind because
yes,
that's an inevitability with
yes,
what the condition he's got as well. Is we tell a lot of people what we feel about them when they're dying. But
right.
I like to tell people how I think about them now. So I write more and more letters as time goes on.
And you
Yeah.
mentioned you're even writing letters to people who passed away.
Yeah.
So it's almost like energetically
Yeah.
downloading all this pent up emotion and
Yeah.
in conflict or whatever, writing it all down. And does that actually
Yeah.
clear it from your emotional and your mental fields?
I, it
Get it
it
down?
saved me. I would say it saved me because even I've another thing I did was I was estranged from my sister as well. So we got
Oh,
together just
oh,
to kind of sort the problem, if you like, that was dad, and what do we do with dad?
yes.
But whereas I can do all the writing and the social services, she's good at other things. So I kind of still had to take that on. I became his power of attorney for finances.
Oh, wow.
But equally, we were both not speaking to him. So
Oh my
I
gosh.
couldn't give my trauma to her, so I had to go somewhere with it. So it ended up with 69 letters, and I wrote to his parents. I wrote to my dad. I wrote to my siblings. I wrote to myself because
Wow.
I was kind of when start going through emotions that have anger, you feel
Yeah.
bad. I mean, they're really normal
Yeah.
feelings, but you
Yeah.
still feel bad. So I
Yeah.
wrote kindness to myself to go, right, it's okay that you're feeling like this. You've literally, your life has imploded. You've stopped all your writing, you've stopped your coaching, it's
Oh,
imploded. You've become the number one carer for this
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Um, and I still, the thing with the 69 letters is it's all out.
Yeah.
I've said
And
everything.
there's that
It's
nine
out.
again, right? Nine
Yeah.
years old, 9 years separating from your
Yeah.
father, 69 letters. And I
Yeah.
like that you also wrote letters to yourself
Yes.
because I find that just the energy of our pen and our physically writing it down versus
Yeah.
typing it in a computer. Now, you did write it down or into a
I did
computer?
write it down. I have actually since transferred them to the computer, so digitally, because unlike when I've written before, I mean, when I've gone through bad times, I don't keep anything. What I do is I take it and I burn it because it's just like saying,
Yeah,
right,
I was going
gone.
to ask you. I
Yeah,
know I've done
yeah,
that in the past where I've written, even if it was like last year and a recap and then go
yeah.
outside and burn it and let the smoke go up. Did you do that with any of your letters?
No, I've kept them.
Okay.
And the reason why I've kept them is because something I didn't realize I was doing. I was keeping a timeline. I was I was basically writing down how long it took for me to get the proper care for him when it all
Okay.
happened. And I've got things in there that I didn't even think were important. But I don't know whether I'm going to do this, but one day I might actually put it in a booklet or like
Yeah.
a care booklet. I'm just
Yeah.
not ready now.
Yeah. Now, did you get a lot of relief when you put it down on paper? Did that physically and mentally and emotionally give you relief?
Yeah, total
Oh,
relief. I think it's the actual only way I got through it. So the 9-year-old girl that picked up a pen because she went, I've got to do something with all of these massive thoughts that I'm having, and I've got nowhere to put it. I'm putting it on a paper. And it's taken me, I mean, it's taken me plus 5 decades to go, you know, it's actually a really intuitive thing that you did as a 9-year-old, and
right,
you
right.
don't know how good it was for your mental health, you know.
Yeah.
So the
And
so
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
I
on.
know for me, like the intuition plays a big role when
Yeah,
I write down things because I actually communicate with my guides. And I said,
yeah,
please give me the message because I'm stuck in
yes,
this energetic ick. And so I
yeah,
take the pen and whatever comes to my head, I write down. And it's a way for me to clear my energy field, my thoughts, my emotions,
yeah,
heal almost.
yeah.
So, and
So
so what do go ahead.
go on. Sorry.
So for people that are emotionally or mentally kind of stuck, and resistance and all of that and blockages, how can writing, what do you recommend? How do they start to take a pen and a blank sheet of paper and like what it would be the first steps that they take?
I would really suggest, so you can do expressive writing, but expressive writing for me is like you're going straight in, it's deep. You're going straight in. But if you don't write, try free writing. It's what I do. I've taught 15 to 18-year-olds at UCL, and I creative
Oh,
writing. Um, and I use the free writing exercise, and just say to them, look, if you don't know what to write, just say, I don't know what to write. If imagine that you're turning on a
perfect.
tap and you're letting all the gunk out, and eventually the water's going to flow. So
Yes.
your words are going to flow onto the paper.
Yes.
And a couple of the students there, when it came to doing an exercise like writing prompts and you write your story, they chose to carry on free writing because it actually, when I asked them, it just freed up this emotion. One girl wrote a letter and she just said, I didn't even know I felt like this. She just kept writing and writing and
Oh.
writing. So even for that age group, which is such a different upbringing to you and I,
Oh, that's
um,
very, yeah. And
it's
and also the
lovely to
phones, they're
watch.
all electronic now.
Yeah,
They're not used to
yeah,
like an actual paper and a pen. Yeah.
yeah. So it's really, really powerful and lovely to watch. And then, of course, the other side of my writing is I write novels. So
Oh, okay.
that for me is like I'm running away. I've had enough. I've had enough of the real world. I'm just going to go on an adventure, and I'll see you at the other side. I'll tell you all about it, and it'll be in paperback.
And how
So
does that make you feel when, is it fiction, I
yes,
guess?
it's fiction,
And how does
but
that make you feel when you create stories?
oh, I love it. Oh, it's my very favorite thing to do. I do include a little bit of historical events, but not really a lot. It's
Uh-huh.
just for something to base it on, if you like. I've got several books in the making, and I'm
Uh-huh.
having difficulty starting because I know there's going to be 5 books, not 9. Maybe there will be 9.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
there's
there
going
will
to
be
be
9.
9.
Maybe there will.
And now, what
So
about, I'm just thinking if somebody wants to visualize, a new life or a different life or an improved life, writing a kind of a fiction novel of what your new life is like, that would probably be really excellent for them too, because you're putting it out into the field. And
yeah,
you can, instead of thinking, oh, all this responsibility, what am I going to do next year? Who am I going to be? What kind of changes do I want to make? They could just playwright and make a book, a
yeah,
novel, a fiction
exactly.
about somebody else's life. And then it
Yeah,
probably would flow. I'm thinking for me, it would flow a lot better if I did something like
yeah.
that.
Well, I think the thing that holds us back a lot is, and it certainly did for me, is I mean, I wanted to write poetry from a very young age, and it wasn't.
Oh.
I've told this story before. Whoops, sorry, keep losing that one.
Earbud got loose.
Wasn't that a teacher did anything particularly wrong, but she just gave me a look that neither said it was good or neither said it was bad. So I
Ah,
interpreted it as, oh, it was rubbish, and I'd worked really hard on it.
uh-huh.
So the young woman or young girl that wanted to become a writer decided, oh, I'm probably rubbish. So I
Oh,
didn't.
right.
So I went through a whole life of IT. I became a programmer, and then I was an IT manager, and then I was made redundant, and I
Oh,
reimagined life.
yeah,
So
yeah. And
I
that couldn't be
reimagined.
further away from a creative writing, right? The
No,
IT
no,
and all of
yeah.
that. Yeah.
No,
Wow.
completely. But um, programming, actually, I used to tell myself this is the rewriting of your story. So I used to tell myself that my work wasn't creative. I was in IT. Of course it
Right.
was. I used to
Everything is
program.
creative. You take
Yeah,
a
I used
walk in
to
nature, that's creative. You
exactly,
go to the
exactly.
shop down the street, that's creative.
Exactly. And it's how you rewrite your narrative. It's like writing the 69 letters. I rewrote the
Right.
narrative that I'd
Yeah.
hold on so tightly to in those 9 years. I
Yeah.
rewrote it. And
Ah,
then the thing that I did that I never thought I would, because you hear about people saying, oh, forgiveness is the best thing. I'm thinking, how can you
yes.
forgive people? How can you?
Yeah.
And then I found myself writing a letter saying, I forgive you.
So
Um,
I like that
yeah,
because I did a lot of forgiveness work, and the
yeah,
person I had to forgive the most was me,
yes.
because I was being hard on myself. And that
Yes.
shocked me that it wasn't other people I had to forgive, it
Yeah.
was me. But I like how you say rewrite the narrative of your
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
so, writing down, when you take a pen and a piece of paper and you start writing down, free writing, whatever, you can actually not only download all of your emotions and your thoughts, which might be toxic, and then,
Yeah.
write them down, get them out, and then rewrite the next paragraph of
Yeah.
how you want to be.
Yeah. And also, all the stories that you've been told about yourself,
Oh, yeah,
and you
those
you
we
go,
just have to throw them
are they
away.
true? Are they really,
No,
really
they're
true?
not
Because
true.
nobody knows you better than you did. So I
Yes.
started redoing that as well, going,
Oh,
actually, I know what they say about me, but that's not me.
right, right.
That's a version I've been told. So I tell you what, I'm going to deal with that emotion and that particular say the emotion is anger. So just write to anger. Tell me what it looks like. What does anger look like? What color is it? How big is it? What's it made of?
That's brilliant. Yeah.
You can do things like that and shift your energy that way as
So
well.
if you're, maybe miserable in your relationship or miserable in your
Yeah.
housing situation or miserable in your job, you can just write down, why am I miserable? What's making me
Yes.
miserable? Oh,
Yeah.
it's anger, it's disrespect, it's
Yeah.
low self-esteem, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'm
And
not doing
and
what I
and
love. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anger, say anger is red and it's impenetrable, just
Mm.
imagine what's behind anger. So just say you just moved it ever so slightly. What can you see? And then move it some more. Because
Ah,
the only person, the only thing in your way is you. Our minds are amazing. We can fear can stop us from doing a lot of
yeah.
things. But also you're telling yourself a story that you don't know. If I
Yes.
do that, then that's going to happen.
Yeah.
How do
And
you know?
also, we're very powerful, and I don't think
Yeah.
we acknowledge or accept and allow, receive our power that we have, our soul power. And to
Oh,
what
I
your
love that.
point is
Yeah.
that we're all like programmed from, school, our family, our
Yeah.
culture, our country, our government, our education system. And then we start believing that instead of
Yeah.
who we really are. So I like how you say what's behind it or move it
Yeah.
aside because
Move
it's
it. Mhm.
probably been put there in front of us from someone else.
It has, yeah. And just when I think, go back to my example of a teacher not saying anything, not
Uh-huh.
giving me even a lot of eye contact, and just
Right.
watching this piece of paper float on the desk, going, "Am I going to get feedback?" And I never did. So I
Right.
told myself that what she meant was I was rubbish. But all she
And
did
that's
was give
not,
me
she
a
was
piece of
probably
paper.
busy and overwhelmed
Yeah,
that day
yeah,
and had
yeah,
too many papers to grade. And yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it was like a
exactly.
moment in time for her where she just wasn't being engaging.
Yeah, yeah. So
And do
that
you
was it.
find that
And
you're more engaging with your students because of that incident that happened?
do you know, I found it really, really interesting because so I've got a lot to say about school system, which we won't do here, but I really feel that it really needs a really good shake up.
Yes,
So
yes,
when I got the opportunity to go to UCL with Invest In, I thought, well, how am I going to do this? So what I did was, and it's quite naive, really, thinking about it, what we've just been talking about is I went in and I'm going, you can do it as you wish. Write your way, do it as you wish. Now imagine telling that to students who are in a school system who are told that you have to spell it that way, you have to do the grammar
right.
that way. It was
Yes,
really naive of me, I realized, because I've just suddenly go, there's your playing field, go and do what you want.
yes,
And they're going,
yes.
but what are the rules?
Right. They're
You
looking for
know,
those boundaries
they're
and
looking for the
to
boundaries. And I just
conform. Well, what do
said,
you want? I'll do what you
yeah.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've given them a picture that's a writing prompt and explained it's science fiction or something. Like, go and write your story.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
So
and
So let's
it's
talk to the
yeah,
viewers and listeners right now.
yeah.
And if they were one of your students and they're kind of in an energetic block or their life isn't working out for them as they would want, and they have a lot of thoughts and emotions that are non-beneficial, what would you tell them where to start and what's the first few steps they can take to shift their energy now?
Um, I'd say free write. All the time I'd say free write. Just pick up a pen, pick up a piece of paper and just write. And if you don't know what to write, I don't know what to write, it's fine. Eventually, something will come.
Right,
But I always try and get people to write with positivity. It's okay to write about anger, but let's write about positivity first. What do you find positive about yourself, for example? Um, you can do what you said earlier. You can write yourself into a different life, but it just means that you have to imagine there are no obstacles. There's no obstacles. You're just going straight for it. Where would you head? And that actually gets people thinking, but it also makes them fear because they're going, but what do you mean there's no obstacles? A bit like me saying what I said
right.
before, that what do you mean there's no obstacle? No
Yes.
obstacles. You can get there. You want to climb Mount Everest? Go for it. Nobody's stopping you.
And
Just
how many
imagine you
minutes,
doing that.
yeah, how many minutes should they start writing for? Because say you don't have anything coming out, like I don't know
Yeah.
what to write. How many minutes should they stick with it before the flow starts?
I always go for 10 minutes, and really it's because I have a time constraint when I tell people to do that. Me, I could write for 2 minutes, or I can write for half an hour or more. It's really up to you. But if you're starting, if you can make 5 minutes, that's great. Just give yourself five
Yeah,
minutes a day, and eventually
yeah,
something will flow. And I think you said it before. Sometimes it just, when I write my books, it comes from nowhere. I don't know
right.
where it's
Yeah,
coming from. It's like somebody's telling me that they want me to write their
right.
story
That's maybe your
because
higher self,
yeah,
your
yeah, it's
soul.
just,
Yeah.
it's just coming in, it's feeding in. And then I get woken up at night going, but I want to say something today. And I've had that incident where I'm thinking, I'm going to write about this character today. And the other one's
Uh-huh.
going, oh, but no, 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 no. I've got it's my turn. But you had your turn
And
yesterday. No, sorry.
yeah,
So,
and that happens
yeah,
to me sometimes. I'll wake up and
yeah.
I know my guys want to kind of download a message to me, and I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I don't know. And they're like,
So
get
what
the
do you
book and
do?
paper. And, I get the book and paper and I just
Yeah,
start letting it flow. And I'm like, oh, they actually have a message. And when I write it down, it is so much more powerful and I get so much more clarity because we're
yeah,
getting messages from our guides throughout the day. But are we paying attention? And I think one way of really downloading your guidance and, also relieving yourself of toxic emotions and
yeah,
thoughts is just to get it out on paper.
yeah.
So if you've enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, comment, share. And Nicola, how can our viewers and listeners contact you if they want to know more?
You can come to Linktree and it's / Nicola McDonald, write your way, or you can actually just email me. It's nicola.mcdonald.ppc@gmail.com. But you'll find everything you need to know on Linktree, including my online writing school. So,
And you have a few, write your way, which I love because
yeah,
also I'm not a fan of the school system. And I wasn't allowed to write my way or even be myself because you
no.
had to fit into that mold. And you're also the founder of Introverts Paper Playground.
Yeah, the
And
Introverts Paper Playground.
yeah, so
Yeah.
if you
I'm
find you're an
actually,
introvert, it's a good way
yeah.
to get out what you may not
So
want to
I'm an
feel comfortable.
introvert and highly sensitive by nature. So yeah,
Oh,
it's really suitable. But also, I'm kind of at the moment exploring taking the it offline and creating books with it. So
yeah,
that will
yeah,
come in the
yeah.
future. Yeah,
Well, I
but yeah.
definitely, my personal experience, and you've had an amazing story with the nines, 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 and the 69
Yeah,
pages or the
I'm going to have
69
to look it
letters.
up more now, aren't I? I'm going to have to look up the definition. What's
A
going
lot of
on?
people, I think it
It's
was Tesla that said the universe is three, six, and nine. Everything is three,
yeah,
six, and nine. So it was very
yeah.
interesting that you had that similar experience.
Oh,
But if you want to shift your energy now in a really effective way to, literally feel different and start exploring what's going on in your life, take a piece of paper, a pen, and go ahead and write it down. And definitely, if you're interested in more, you can contact Nicola. So
yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Bye.